Hello, my name is Dean Contover. This is a Current Buzz. Today we have Chief of Police of Chelmsford, Massachusetts. I say Chelmsford, Massachusetts because there is a Chelmsford, England. His name is James Spinney. He's been a police chief now in town for 5 years now. That's quite long. I want you to stay there.
Thanks.
Yeah. Chelmsford is 23.2 square miles. It was established in 1655, and the population is around 35,000, 36,000 people. And how many officers do you have, including yourself?
54.
54. And you just added 2 more.
Correct.
Right. And when you add 2 officers or new officers, what's the procedure to get them involved? Do they stay with a veteran officer for a couple of months or 6 months, or how is that?
There's a state exam they take, and when we need officers, we contact a Civil Service Commission down in Boston.
Okay.
And they send us the lists, and we draw off of those lists. Right. And it's up to each department to do their own thorough background on each one and vet them out. After we select the officers, and they go through a variety of physicals and psychological testing, and after we make the selections, they have to attend a 6-month police academy that's offered throughout the state. There's different ones. There's one in Methuen, there's one in Boylston, there's one down in Boston. Depending on the timing of it, we select the academy.
All right.
Then after they graduate the 6-month police academy, they get assigned to a field training officer for
in town.
So one of my officers that have already been trained on how to teach.
Oh, okay.
They get assigned to one of these FTOs, we call them, for about 12 weeks.
First shift, second shift, third shift?
All over the place. Typically not overnight, because we want the officers exposed, we want the new officers exposed to as many calls as possible.
I see.
And while overnight, there's crazy calls up there.
Yeah, right.
But there's not as many.
Okay.
So we put them typically on day shift or evening shift, and they're assigned to that officer for about 12 weeks.
All right. What do they learn? Speeding tickets and things like that?
Yeah, so the academy teaches them the core things about being a police officer.
How to handle a van in regards to how to approach a van versus a car.
Right.
Because a van can be dangerous.
Right, exactly.
Right, all right.
But during the field training phase, they teach them our rules, regulations, and protocols in Chelmsford. Because each town has different policies.
Okay.
They're close to each other, but there's little variances. So they will learn that, how we expect the officers to do certain things in this community, what our community expects.
Right.
And then they get a little taste of the detective division, traffic, the K-9 program, which we're going to discuss, and they just kind of learn the Chelmsford way. And then after 12 weeks, if they've passed all the qualifications, then they're released as a viable officer.
After 6 months, does everybody make it through, or do some people fall?
So since I've been chief for 5 years, we have had one person not make it through field training.
Oh, no kidding.
It just wasn't right. A lot of learning issues and problems with, once we kind of step back to let this person make decisions on their own, they weren't the best.
Oh, no kidding. That's very important because you have to make split-second decisions.
Exactly. So we have a year to make that decision when an officer's on probation.
Oh, okay, I see. So he finished the academy, but it was the year that he was on probation.
So we have a year to see if this person will work out in Chelmsford.
I see. How many women on the force?
5.
5, okay, fine. Good. I see them around town.
And they do a great job. Yeah. They've done a fantastic job.
Yeah,
I get compliments all the time about how they speak with people, very empathetic.
Okay.
So they're doing great.
Yeah, good. I'm glad to hear that. So we have a K-9 that's coming to town, or we had a K-9, didn't we?
Yep, so Officer Leo is our K-9 officer.
Okay.
That program's going on, I think, 15 years or so. And his dog that he's had up to now is being retired, because it's been in service now, I think, 8 or 9 years, and that's basically the life.
Is it a German Shepherd
Yes.
or is it a Belgian?
It's a German Shepherd.
Oh, it's German Shepherd.
So he's now training with a new dog down in Boston to get that dog certified at the K-9 Academy in Boston.
How long does that take?
That's 3 months. And my expectation is he'll be done in about a month and a half, and he will begin to work that dog.
Okay.
So-
What does a dog do? How does it enhance the community by having a dog?
Well, it enhances really the region. I mean, I always joke about the canine program. For the amount of money we spend on it, it does just as much good to other towns as it does Chelmsford. But
Okay.
it's a regional thing. We're partners with everybody. But, you know, those dogs are certified in tracking, whether it's a dangerous individual or a lost child. They're certified in...
How do they track them? What is it? Is it a scent that
Scent.
they... Okay.
So they'll
Yeah,
typically, so in most scenes, we'll try to get
Yeah.
something that the person
Like
had on.
clothes,
Right,
yeah.
and then the dogs are trained to, obviously there's minute particles in the air of that scent.
Right.
And the dogs are trained to follow the path of that person.
Right.
The same thing with a lost individual, whether it's somebody elderly. We've had a number of people that have had some cognitive issues that have wandered.
Yeah, that happens.
Or a small child, and
Somebody
we'll
with
use,
Alzheimer's.
Exactly. Like Barica has a dog specifically for like a bloodhound. The bloodhounds are better at that type of thing than the shepherds.
That's kind of unusual
Yeah.
to have a bloodhound.
Yeah.
Because in the military, they don't use bloodhounds.
No?
No, they use Belgium. I forgot what they call them, and German shepherds because they're more athletic. They don't use what's the problem dogs there that you have. You know, they're big, muscular dogs. And,
Oh, not the mastiffs, not those things. Those things
I think
huge.
they're illegal in some places, aren't they?
I know there's some insurance issues with them.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, because they're just they can be big and.
I noticed recently that they've banned those dogs. I can't remember.
Oh, not Rottweiler. Pit bull.
Yeah, pit bull. They've banned them on military, civilian communities on base.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Well, you can see why some of the things that's happened.
And they don't use them in the military at all because they're too muscular.
They're just too okay.
Yeah, too aggressive, and they're muscular, and the shepherd is more athletic type.
Right, just to
because they
keep
can
on the
jump,
move.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So the bloodhound and Barica is specifically for like a lost child, whatnot. We've used that a number of times.
Right.
And then the dogs are certified in drug detection.
Okay.
So if we have a car pulled over and they're suspected of running narcotics, the dogs are great at detecting. We call them hides in the car, where the car's been modified to hide drugs.
I see.
So
Any type of drug, can they specific?
they usually cross-train
marijuana?
opioids,
Is that
marijuana. Well, I
right?
mean, marijuana's legalized now, but you still
Yeah.
can't sell it. But you know, all the major categories.
I have a tidbit for you. In regards to Mexico, they're having problems because now marijuana is legalized in the United States.
Are they losing money?
And they're losing money.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah. So it's a big.
Well, that's always been the argument,
Yeah.
right? With the amount of money we spend on something that if
Yeah.
you just legalized it, it would put some of these black markets out of business.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's why there are a lot of wars going on because they're losing their piece of the pie, so to speak.
Oh, that
I
makes
just
sense.
read that recently.
Wow.
So a lot
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, yeah. So K9's coming. Watch out. Don't. Yeah, but if it's legal and you have a K9, what happens? You want to see if the guy is moving?
Well, yeah. So
stuff?
we've had, there could be
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of dollars
Yeah.
in marijuana
Yeah.
stashed in someone's car that
Yeah.
they're going to illegally sell. So
I see.
it's the selling of it still.
I see.
The distribution's still illegal.
Right.
So they're trained that way. So it's a benefit to the region.
Does that bother you that cannabis is legal now? I mean, after all these years?
I have my personal opinions on that, but I understand the direction that states are moving towards legalization.
Yeah.
I was opposed to Chelmsford having a dispensary.
Right.
Because, in my opinion, the dispensary brings a whole host of, in what I consider as problems. Suspicious activity, potential crime, neighborhoods being affected by potential.
Yeah, bad guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I have no issue with it being legally consumed. I just didn't want the dispensary in Chelmsford.
I see. And they voted against it, so that helps your case.
Exactly. And they might decide down the road, as our neighbors begin to do these things,
Yeah.
that it's a good fit for Chelmsford.
Yeah.
And that's fine too.
I was recently with somebody, we were talking, I said, these dispensaries are going to be like liquor stores and they're not going to have lines anymore. They're just, people are going to go in.
I agree with you. Once things settle down.
Yeah, once things settle down.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
It'll become the new normal, and it's going to be up to each community to regulate and just to keep an eye on.
Yeah. So let's talk about something else that in regards to cell phones. I was driving, I was telling you earlier, I drove from Boston, and there were people with cell phones texting in traffic, bumper to bumper. I mean, I know it gets to you, but just let's talk about.
Yeah, so
think?
as most people know, Massachusetts is one of the, I think it's the only New England state that has not been able to push out a
Is that right? It's the only one?
I believe it is.
I did not know that. Okay.
So as the law is now, you can use your cell phone, but you can't text. So you can imagine the problem that is for enforcement.
Right.
The officer will see someone who looks obviously like they're texting, but the operator will say, no, I was dialing. So the law as it stands now, in my opinion, is unenforceable. New Hampshire is hands-free. I believe every other state is completely hands-free. In other words, you cannot touch the device unless you talk to it through Bluetooth, except for Massachusetts. So
if somebody has it on their dashboard in regards to Waze or something, or mapping device, they can't touch it?
Well, the way our law is now, they can.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But a hands-free law, like New Hampshire has, you can't.
Yeah, they do. Somebody was stopped recently, and they were told from Massachusetts, you can't do that in New Hampshire.
Right.
But they didn't ticket them. They
Right.
just gave them a warning. They were pretty lucky.
Right. But I even
So-
see it in New Hampshire, even though New Hampshire's hands-free, I always say it, the genie's out of the bottle. I don't think you're ever going to get people to totally, unless they build something into the phones where the phones go into a deactivation mode in the car. I just think the temptation's always going to be there for people to pick up their devices. But I think Massachusetts needs to catch up with the other states and get this hands-free.
Unless you guys have video cameras of the car, and she's using or he's using the phone, and you take pictures and you clock it.
Yeah, otherwise the person's just going to say I was dialing.
Yeah.
So what's happened is the officers, it's a difficult thing to enforce, and unless it's something so blatant, I don't see a lot of stops in the log for those offenses.
And let me ask you this question. Let's say you're at Drum Hill and somebody rear-ends me, or hopefully it won't happen, but somebody does that, and I have a suspicion that person was using the phone. Can we look at their logs?
Yes. So
do you have the right to look at their logs?
if the accident was serious enough,
Okay.
then we could get the phone logs and see if they were actively texting. Sometimes people will just give it to the officers. So the officer might say, I'd like to see your phone to see if you were on it. And if the offense is serious enough, we can subpoena that.
Okay. If I say no, what happens?
Then we could subpoena it
You'd have to.
through the phone company, and then which would show your texts anyway.
Yeah.
So we've had really serious accidents has resulted in fatality, where we've gotten the phone logs to make sure that one of the operators was not using the phone at that time.
Right.
So that's an avenue, yes.
Yeah. So you'd have to go through court.
Right, unless the person, yeah, I was on it here. Yeah.
So
Or we can take the phone and then hold it and then get a search warrant.
Okay, I got it.
Right.
All right, so you'd have to get a search warrant.
Yeah.
It protects you and it protects the driver.
Right.
In essence, you know.
Right.
Same with a home, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
So to
if
go into
somebody
someone's
come-
house is a big deal.
Yeah.
You either need exigency, a warrant, or consent.
Right.
So if you don't have one of those things, we don't go in.
Right.
So if we suspect something's going on in there, illegal activity of some kind, we can post an officer outside and get a search warrant.
How long does that take?
It can take hours, but if it's something that's real time, it's an emergency, the bail clerks at Low District Court have been great. They will come out on an emergency for us and review the probable cause on the report, and they'll issue it.
All right. I was looking online, and you have a criminal prosecutor at district court.
Yes.
What's he do?
So Sergeant Bernier
Okay.
is my liaison to Low District Court.
Oh, okay.
So he's there every day.
Okay.
So if you were at Low District Court for something to do with Chelmsford,
Okay, let's say I got a ticket.
right, you would walk up to him
Okay.
and explain what's going on, and he would help you through the process.
Oh, he would help me.
Right. He also represents Chelmsford's desires at court. So the district attorney's office would say, Sergeant Bernier, what's your department's feeling on this case? And he would be like, well, we think this is a very serious case. We'd like to see this person. Or, you know what? We're okay with this person having some diversionary issues and not have them get involved in the system. So he's just basically Chelmsford Police's mouthpiece.
So he could go, I can go up to him and say, listen, I made a mistake. I got caught speeding. I'm sorry about it. He could work.
He'd work with you and the district
Right.
attorney's office.
Right.
He goes to every ticket appeal. So if you got a speeding ticket and it went in front of the clerk magistrate, he would be there.
I see.
And oftentimes people, you know what, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
And the clerks listen to that.
As long as it's not 3 or 4 times.
Exactly. And they'll see the history right there.
They have the history in
Right.
front of you, yeah.
But the clerk's been pretty good about, all right, this is your first offense. We'll make this a warning, or we'll dismiss it.
Okay.
Everybody deserves a second chance.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
So in other words, always appeal your ticket if you do get one in Chelmsford. And you guys are not really,
I think we lean towards warnings here.
Warnings, yeah.
So we've written about, I just ran the numbers the other day.
Oh,
we've
good.
written about 6,000 citations.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. We've stopped about 6,000 cars.
Wow.
About 2,500 of them, so not even half, have resulted in a
Third,
citation.
roughly.
So most of the stops, the officers are giving verbal warnings. They're not even giving them a citation.
Right.
Because we want the stop to be positive. We want the person to drive away feeling it was a respectful conversation about a violation, and then they'll leave going, oh, wow, I won't do that.
Like going 20 miles an hour through a school zone, like the Harrington School on Richardson Road, which is basically a highway, and people fly up that road.
See, that might get a citation.
Yeah.
The school zone's a big deal, I think.
I think so, too.
So I guess if I pulled someone over back in my day and their record was completely clean, and that was their first time, that person might get a written warning.
Okay.
And the written warnings are recorded and they're documented, so if the person gets stopped again, the officer can see, oh, they got a warning for this already. And that might lead to
Well, I mean, your whole thing comes up on the computer.
Exactly. Even if you were just stopped with no ticket.
Even if you were stopped in Boston or something like that, that would come
If you were
up.
given a ticket, yes.
A ticket, that would
Right.
come up.
It would come up on your driver history.
Yeah.
It would show Boston, red light violation. So
Okay.
the officers take all that into consideration.
Yeah.
And I really do think we lean towards, like I said.
I think so, too.
We lean towards a lot of warnings.
I think there's a misconception out there that you guys have to give out tickets.
Right, and that couldn't be further. I have no quota system.
Okay, good. That's good to know.
Yeah,
That's good.
I, as the chief and my command staff, expect the officers to be proactive.
All right.
In other words, be active.
Right.
But absolutely no money quota system whatsoever.
Yep, right. Now, the money, let's say a ticket, a person doesn't appeal it, they pay who? Do they
So they pay the court. Actually, they pay the registry.
Okay,
They send the ticket in
Oh, okay.
to the registry of motor
Right.
vehicles, and then the registry takes that fine amount and splits it between, I think the state gets half and the town gets half.
Right.
But I don't get that money. That that money goes back into like Chapter 70 money
Oh, is that
for
right?
the town of
Okay.
Chelmsford to use towards road repair
Right.
and not Chapter 70, that's the schools, but you know what I mean. It would go back into the town general account to use for a variety of projects.
Right.
But it doesn't come back to me. So when the officers write a ticket, the money does not come to the
Right,
police
okay.
department.
That's good to know.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean, I didn't
a lot
know
of people think that.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
people think that.
They
That's
think
why
we're writing them for
stuff.
our own.
Yeah, exactly. No,
they
okay.
write it because they think it's the right thing to do.
We got a clarification. Don't call 911 unless it's an emergency. And in Chelmsford, the cruiser has to come to the house if you pick it up. If you make a mistake and you dial 911, make sure you call the switchboard and tell them there was a mistake, but they still come out eventually.
Exactly. So obviously it helps to have that person say, oh, my child hit the 911 button by
Right.
mistake, everything's okay. So
Right.
that's gonna affect everybody's mentally.
Right.
The officers now are gonna digest that. They're not gonna go extremely fast.
Right.
Unless something doesn't sound right.
Right.
Because we've had people say, there's no problem here, and there is.
Yeah, right.
But if it all seems like it's lining up, and the dispatchers are really good. They've
Okay.
been doing this so long, they can tell.
Right.
So yeah, we have to confirm a 911, even if it's a child picking up the phone,
Right.
because you have to make sure that something really wasn't happening.
That's right.
Had a lot of them years ago when we first went over to the system.
Right.
But now it's few and far between now.
Yeah.
And everybody's cell phone now comes to the station now, 911, which just happened not long ago.
Oh, is that right?
Used to go to the state police.
Oh.
Now it comes to Chelmsford.
Oh,
If you're
good.
in Chelmsford and you hit 911, goes to Chelmsford.
And we're going to have the switchboard people there and not go regional?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. This is a book called Caught in the Act, and it's about a story that took place in Chelmsford, Massachusetts. And maybe you can zoom in on this and so forth. It was a guy named Adam Leroy Lane. There was a truck driver, and he was parked at the rest area, and at night would sneak in And
So probably one of the most serious events that's happened in this town. This subject was committing these crimes all across the eastern seaboard.
Right.
And what was so difficult about catching him was he was a nomadic truck driver. So he would, what happened in Chelmsford was he parked in the rest area like you said. He crossed the highway, both highways, went through some backyard wooded area into this residence and was preparing to abduct a juvenile. And if it wasn't for the parents hearing some commotion, he would have been successful.
according to the book, they didn't have the air conditioning on that night. It happened in July of 2007.
So that's amazing. Right.
As you know, air conditioners crank.
You drowned it right out, and
and you fall asleep, and
so by some graces, they heard some type of noise, went in there, they see this individual, turned into a little bit of a melee.
he had masks.
He had masks and weapons.
right?
He had knives and masks, and the parents received cuts, and they were able to hold him at bay until officers arrived, and then subsequently we found out that he had been involved in other homicides, and
he was a transient, more or less, in the sense that he was driving a truck, would sneak into homes and attack these women.
So it's amazing. It's very difficult to solve something like that. The guy's not even in the area anymore.
Right.
So it's amazing. There's been a number of documentaries on it, I think, and
Is that right?
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, all right. I'll let you read the book and catch up. It's a first edition, by the way. Anything we should know in regards to? I had a couple of questions. Mental health. That's a major problem. Last time you came on. We talked about mental. We were getting a person to do that.
Right. Yeah. So Chelmsford, I think, is leading the way.
Okay.
You got to give a lot of credit to the town government pushing this need. We hired a full-time community services coordinator that's just for Chelmsford, and her name is Jen Melanson, and she works with the police department and amongst other departments. So if she handles people with some mental health issues or some poverty issues or maybe hoarding, and she helps them almost like Regina Jackson does with the veterans.
Right.
She helps them get to contact with people that would help them be well.
Right.
And she's been very busy. She came out of the gate. She works with our clinician. We have a full-time clinician for mental health that we work with too.
Right.
And she's working in partners with that individual. Because like you just said, the mental health calls are through the roof.
Right.
Hundreds of them a year now. I'm thinking about making a modification to my command staff where there'll be a supervisor who deals strictly with that.
No kidding.
Because that's almost what we're at.
No kidding.
Yep. I'm almost at the point where I'm going to put a lieutenant in charge of mental health.
So when you came on the force, that wasn't a major problem.
No, I mean, when I was a patrolman, I might get 1 or 2 mental health calls a month. Now we're up to 250 this year.
No kidding. Wow.
Yep.
Any problems at the schools?
There's been some, but we have. I'm glad to say we now have 3 full-time school resource officers.
Right.
But the middle school resource officers have told me there's been mental health problems, where the kids
No
have
kidding.
Yep.
What about vaping, real quick? I mean, I don't have a minute.
It's been an issue with the high school, not as of late, but last year I remember seeing a number of instances where vaping products were taken from students at the high school.
no kidding.
And they get we don't get involved with that, but they get disciplined.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's a real problem, and obviously everyone knows what's going on across the
You know what I said to this guy in regards to the 4 months? I said, if they did that 100 years ago, my dad wouldn't have died from lung cancer. People are forgetting that.
Yeah.
You know,
Cigarettes,
my dad died from lung cancer, from smoking. And if they did that 100 years ago and stopped it for 4 months or maybe more, you know.
Take a look, right.
To take a look at it. We don't know. I mean.
They don't even know what's in these cartridges.
No, they don't. I mean, the pods that they have, right?
People think there's vaporized water. It couldn't be further from the truth. There's chemicals in there.
Yeah.
All sorts of magnesium and nicotine and anything that was in cigarettes is in those.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Chief, thank you for coming.